So it's been a few years that we've been doing this as a series, what I'm calling my 10 holy grail fragrances that I'd recommend to a beginner. If you've never seen an episode from this series, let me give you a brief overview of what we're doing because it's not exactly what you'd think. When you think of beginners, when you think of beginner fragrances, you might think of fragrances like this. We're not talking about any of these fragrances in this video. So now I know you're confused. Justin, if you're not talking about beginner fragrances, why is this called a beginner fragrances video? Well, let me tell you a quick story about my background. When I started out with fragrances in this hobby, somewhat as a collector, I started to amass all of the fragrances I was seeing everyone recommend, especially ones recommended as the top compliment getters, super versatile, beast mode monsters, all that stuff. All the fragrances you saw on screen, those are the ones I was buying, and I got this whole collection of them, and I didn't really love any of them. They were all very functional. I would wear them. They would give me some level of enjoyment, but none of them really felt like me. It wasn't my collection, it was just a collection. So a lot of those fragrances, I don't have them anymore. I sold them off, I got rid of them, they're gone. So as a result, even though a lot of you guys could maybe relate to my beginnings in this hobby, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I would not recommend what I did to a beginner. It's not necessary to go through all the trash, so to speak, and not to say all these fragrances are trash, but
the way you're acquiring them is trash. Let's be real.
It's not because you're going out and you're sampling, you're making sure it moves you, it strikes a chord with you before you think about how anyone else is going to think about it. I think it's harmless, but it has a limit. You hit a wall at a certain point, you get bored, you get jaded, whatever it may be, maybe like I did. So I don't think we got to start there. There's many points of entry we can take. So what I've done is I have 10 fragrances that I really enjoy in my collection. I've assigned them each to 10 live categories, 10 scenarios where you might wear a fragrance, scenarios that I think we can all relate to, and the scenarios themselves are for the beginner. This is for any person who lives on earth, who moves through the world. It's good to think about function when it comes to fragrances, so that's the beginner aspect of this, but the choices I've assigned each one are not necessarily beginner fragrances. Some of them will still be very easy to understand and like, but some of them might require a little bit of growing into, and that's just how it goes. That's why I could not recommend enough sampling first. There's going to be links in the description to get decants to all these fragrances if you feel inclined or interested to do so. With all that out the way, let's dive right into it. Our first category I'm calling Easy Grab, and this is what it sounds like. This is a versatile everyday fragrance, any season, all occasion fragrance. If you don't know what to wear, you can grab this one. But again, we're not doing all the stuff you would normally see. This is something that's a little bit off the beaten path, but still functions in the same way with a little bit of something special to it though. This is from MFK, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, a gentle fluidity silver. I've loved this fragrance for years now, at least 4 or 5 years. I've had kind of a love affair with this scent profile that is so easy. It's relatively simple. There's not a whole lot of complexity here. There's not a whole lot of moving parts, but it comes together in a way that is different. It's not exactly like anything else out there. It does have this cooling, slightly sharp freshness to it from juniper berry, which is used to flavor or make gin, and you do get a kind of cooling herbal gin vibe. That is the overall presence of the scent, cooling and fresh, and there's a little bit of a sweet musky warmth behind it, maybe with a touch of spice. You get some coriander in there, but behind that is this amber vanilla musk that just kind of hovers. It kind of surrounds the outer portions of the scent. It adds this radiance to it, but it is mostly fresh, and for whatever reason it performs really well for me. So functionally speaking, if you need something to wear from sun up to sundown that's not offensive at all, this is something that could work for that. Again, you don't have to think about it. It's so easy. That is MFK Gentle Fluidity Silver. Our next category is work. Now, I know not everyone works in a professional setting, at least the traditional professional setting. However, that doesn't mean you can't have a professional vibe wherever it is you work. And what do I mean by professional? I mean, you want people to know that you're there with intention. You want them to take you seriously because you take what you do seriously. It's really that simple, whatever it is that you do. And the fragrance I've chosen for that is from Narciso Rodriguez. It's For Him Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. I think this is a lovely place for this fragrance because it does have a cleanliness to it. You smell like you put yourself together. You smell like you came to be pleasant, maybe not to please everyone, but overall people who will be around you will find you pleasant. So there's a freshness here, but there's some depth here. If you know Narciso Rodriguez fragrances, they have this pretty upfront muskiness that really defines the profiles of these scents. This warm, enveloping musk that honestly could come off a little sexy, so be careful who you wear this around. That girl you have a crush on, she might have a crush on you too if you're wearing this.
That last statement was not approved by any governing body that would approve such a statement. Buy at your own risk.
I get kind of this sparkling citrusy quality. I don't think there's technically citrus in here, but there's something kind of juicy about it when you spray it on, almost like a mandarin. Can't verify that, but that's the vibe I get, blended with this clean, maybe fresh, spicy, slightly sweet, warm muskiness that kind of all comes together as one accord. It's really a hard scent to really dissect. If you smell something like Cartier Declaration, which I know a lot of you guys haven't, because it might be seen as a little bit old-fashioned to some of you, even though it's timeless, but some of you who have smelled that, if you do like that fragrance, you're gonna like this because it will remind you of that, but maybe softer around the edges, maybe a little bit more contemporary. If you don't like Declaration, you'll probably like this instead, because again, I think it is a more contemporary version of that type of scent profile, but they are not exactly the same, don't get me wrong. Anyway, if you want to have that professional vibe wherever you work, this is a great one to consider. Narciso Rodriguez, Bleu Noir, Eau de Parfum. Relax. You want something that is for you. Maybe you're not doing much of anything that day. Maybe you're just hanging around at home. Maybe you're running an errand. Whatever it is, you don't really feel the need to impress anyone, but you want to wear something that you love for yourself that makes you feel as put together as you need to be. But if no one smells you, whatever, it doesn't matter. The fragrance I've chosen for that is Wulong Cha from Nishane. Perfect scent for this. It is a very relaxing scent profile by nature. Using oolong tea, it is kind of green and herbal without being sharp. There is this beautiful juicy citrus combo up top, maybe bergamot, lemon, I don't know, but at least it's bergamot that just gives a brightness to it, gives this juicy fruitiness, but it's not really that sweet. It just adds a liveliness to the scent and a lot of musk that really softens the scent. It's just a round scent profile. It's relaxing, it's calming. It just kind of hits you very softly and smoothly. There's no sharp edges to this stuff. It's lovely stuff. If you want something that smells green, yellow, gray, soft, white, smooth, round, warming, but still fresh, I highly recommend Wulong Cha if you want that relaxing vibe. For your casual day out, I realize this could be also in the winter time, in which case a warmer, maybe sweeter option would be best, but I'm just choosing a fresher option, which kind of goes along the lines of the beginner approach. Fresh is always safe. Fresh works for every season. Fresh works for every occasion. Few people will dislike fresh. So I'm just choosing a fresher option for this scenario. And I'm going with Elysium Eau Intense from Roja Parfum. And let's say this is just a day where you're going out maybe to have lunch with a friend. Maybe you're going for a walk. You do want to be more put together. You do want people to smell you. You want them to know that you put some effort in and that you smell really good. But again, we're not going for the lowest hanging fruit here. We could have gone with the original Elysium, which would be a very common place for that fragrance, but the Eau Intense version I think has a little bit more of something special, which makes it not quite as much for everyone as the original. There's something way sharper about this from the rhubarb. It is this tart, maybe even like bittersweet, crisp fruitiness that you get at the top, almost a little vegetal. There's this airy kind of cooling freshness behind it. The original Elysium DNA is here. It's in the core of the scent, maybe a grassiness somewhere in there, some woods, but it's more niche than the original. It's less mainstream. It's less mass appealing because of that rhubarb, I think, but under the sun with some heat. When I first got this fragrance, I was really testing it during the summer months pretty intensively, and I was loving the vibe I was getting. Keep in mind though, that when it's hot, this stuff will evaporate pretty quickly. You may not smell it all that much, so you can spray it a little bit more liberally. You can spray your clothes if you want a little bit more longevity. It's not a strong fragrance. It's not a super long lasting fragrance. Some of you guys might be upset by that because of what it costs to get it. Us complaining doesn't change anything, so rather than complain, just decide to skip it and move on to something else that'll perform better. If you're looking for strong performance from a scent that smells relatively natural, this is not it. Elysium Eau Intense from Roja Parfum. Let me know if you dig this one down in the comments. Casual night out. This stuff is good. This is one of my absolute favorite releases from last year, 2024. This is from Givenchy, Gentleman's Society Extreme. I think I'm saying it right. All the names they use for these flankers, it gets confusing. I don't remember the order all the time, but those are the words. You get the idea. This stuff is lovely. It is primarily an aromatic, powdery, woody, coffee sweet fragrance. Slightly sweet, not too sweet. Not so much where it smells boyish and smells like all the other modern kind of juvenile, mass appealing, masculine marketed fragrances out here. It does set itself apart a little bit. It smells a little bit more gentlemanly, a little bit more put together. Just smells like evening vibes. It does smell like a designer fragrance. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to smell this and think, oh, this is from some $200 plus niche fragrance line. No, it smells like a designer for sure, but the elements that it uses to stand out and to kind of offshoot itself from the original society make it a little bit more special, make it perfect for a casual night out when you're not going to dress up super seriously, but you want to have a sexy vibe. You want to be alluring to whoever you're going to be encountering, but you don't want to smell like every other basic dude out there. This is a great one to consider. That is gentleman, society, extreme, whatever the heck they call it. It's good. Let me know what you think. For a date, I specifically wanted something with a freshness and a bit of a sweetness. It's great to have that balance, that duality of both of those things for a date fragrance, especially for guys. If you're dating a girl, women just love the combination of freshness because it shows a cleanliness.
Please make sure you bathe before you put this or any fragrance on.
Blended with a little bit of sweetness that again has that allure when it's in the air. There's something about it that really draws people in closer, especially when it's not too strong. You don't need a beast mode fragrance for a date. You're gonna blow them out of the water. No need for that. But the fragrance I would recommend for a date, especially for the evening, is from Notte del Chianti. This is called Anima Libera. You've probably never heard of this fragrance before. Maybe you've never heard of this brand before. They are based from the Chianti region in Tuscany in Italy. This is the only fragrance I've tried from them and I really enjoy it. It has this beautiful mashup of something with great quality ingredients, something that smells thoughtfully composed, but at the same time has a nice appeal to it. There's something that smells like it could appeal to almost anyone. It does remind me loosely of fragrances like La Nuit de l'Homme from Yves Saint Laurent. Just a little bit. If you're looking for a point of reference, that's a decent point of reference. With that freshness, with that sweetness, a little bit of spice, there's some warm, kind of more ambery, resinous notes in the base, some woodiness, so it does have this light and dark duality. It is subtle enough to where it's not going to be overpowering in close quarters, but it's present enough to where it will last the entire night, maybe then some. It will be detectable in the air from across the way. I've been really enjoying getting to know this fragrance during this season where the weather is a little bit more moderate, more mild. I do think you could pull it off in the evening time all year round though. You just adjust your sprays because I think it's a little tiny bit more bottom heavy than top heavy. The sweet, warm woodiness is a little bit more. I'd say it's like 60% of that with 40% freshness. That's just the way I would split it up. Anyway, if you want to try this fragrance or any fragrance, you can check them out down below at the link, and we do have a discount code. I have it on screen. I don't remember exactly what it is. Maybe NDC Justin 15, something along those lines. You'll see it here on screen. You can use that for a discount. Check it out. Let's get into formal. For the formal occasion, you want to stand out. You're going to dress your best, and perhaps you're going to be around a crowd of people who are also doing the same thing, and you might have to compete a little bit, not only with your clothing, but with your scent, because maybe everyone's going to smell great, and you want to stand out amongst the crowd of smell goods. This is a great one to consider. You're going to cut through the room with this one. It's a strong fragrance. You don't need much. I've already oversprayed it once. Luckily, it didn't turn out too bad, but I had to learn my lesson. From Zaharoff, one of their newer releases, this is called Signature Pour Homme Extreme. First of all, this lovely bottle, all black, and they specifically used the paint for the cap and the plate. This is the same exact paint as the paint that Mercedes uses. It has this slight like glimmer to it. It's not dust. It is just like a sparkle. It is so eye-catching to look at. The juice is like kind of inky in a way, but not too dark. Anyway, what does it smell like? Well, if you've smelled the original Signature Pour Homme, which I hope you have, man, if you haven't tried that, please get caught up. Get yourself a sample of that from Zaharoff's website. It's easy to grab. And it is a perfectly modern and unique take on the aromatic fougere, on the barbershop style fragrance. If you've smelled that, this is a dark, extreme version of that. Less fresh, heavier on the oud, so there's a darker kind of woody quality to it. It's a little bit more resinous perhaps, but it still has a bit of a cleanliness. I think the lavender is still here. It still has a little bit of this fruity quality that's a little bit unusual to the aromatic fougere genre. In the original Signature Pour Homme, it was pear. I don't know if pear is still here, but it's a dense fragrance while still having a clean masculine vibe. If you want to stand out, man, this one in the air is stunning. stunning. I wore this a week ago. I did overspray it, so it was a little bit too much for me, but my wife was loving it. She was complimenting me all night long because she was smelling it all around. And luckily we were in a place where it wasn't overtaking anything, but I could have done with one less spray. 3 sprays max with this stuff. That's all you need. You'll smell it tomorrow, I promise you. Signature Pour Homme Extreme from Zaharoff. These next 2 categories are a bit of a departure from the previous episodes in this series, and this category is mature. And I felt like I wanted to include this because I don't know about you, but I feel this way sometimes. Some days, some nights, I just want to have a mature vibe with my scent. I want to smell grown. I might even want to smell a little bit older than I am. Not because I want people to think I'm older, but I just want to have that demeanor. I want to have that vibe. I want people to take me seriously in a way that smells classically masculine. And there's a lot of options I can choose for that, but why not choose one that came out decades ago? This is from Ralph Lauren, and this is their Safari for Men. What a classic, 1992. It's been over 30 years that this has been out. I have this on my arm. This stuff is so good. It is also an aromatic fougere. It is based on that barbershop kind of feel. Clean lavender, spices, woods, maybe moss, a little bit of a sweetness in there. But this, as per the color, makes it a little richer, maybe a little bit sweeter, more ambery in a way. I get this kind of dusty, ambery, leathery feel in the middle of this fresh aromatic fougere vibe. It's totally a classic fragrance. It does smell maybe a touch outdated, just a little bit, but not enough to make people think you smell like their father or their grandfather unless you overspray it. Just enough of this stuff, I'd say no more than 3 or 4 sprays, is gonna have you smelling super classy, especially if you dress the part as well. And you know, watch the crowd you hang around. If you're in your 20s and you're going to be hanging around a bunch of other 20 somethings, this may not fit. This may not be the best choice for that scenario. But if you're in your 20s and maybe you work around a lot of people who are older than you, maybe 5-10 years older than you, this is not a bad one to consider. This might have people just perceiving you in a slightly more upscale light. I don't know, just an idea. I haven't tested it, but maybe check it out. Maybe try that and report back with your findings. This is Ralph Lauren Safari for Men. Our second to last category, again, is new for this series, and I'm calling it crowd pleaser. It's really that simple. You want to wear something that you want people to smell. You want them to know and think you smell good. Maybe you want them to tell you. Maybe you are fishing for compliments. If that is what you want, then there's a billion fragrances you can choose. You actually don't need me or anyone to tell you what those are. Just go to any fragrance in your local department store, and that's probably going to be a crowd pleaser. Just spray them all, see which one you like best, buy it, wear it. But if you want something a little different, something you're not really going to see in the department stores, but still functions the same way. From Guerlain, this one is a head scratcher. Some of you guys may have tried it. You don't care for it. When I first got it, I didn't care for it too much because it was not what I expected. But as a standalone scent, it's good and it's very functional. This is Habit Rouge L'Instinct. If you know anything about Habit Rouge, this is not going to remind you of Habit Rouge really at all. I have seen people say,
No, Habit Rouge is in there. You guys don't know what you're talking about. It's in there. The DNA is there.
I don't really smell it. I don't really truly smell Habit Rouge. If I turn my head this way, pull my right earlobe, squish down my right nostril, and maybe close my eyes just about 98%, sure, yeah, it's there. Okay, it's in there. But in the air, when you get the first whiff of this is just kind of a basic green, fresh, ambroxany, modern, masculine fragrance. It's very head scratching from this brand, from this collection, but as a scent all by itself, I've told you what to expect. If you can get past the name, if we can peel off the label, then this is just a good smelling fragrance that is actually not exactly like all the other crowd pleasing blue, freshy, masculine fragrances out there. Some people say it smells like Bleu de Chanel. I don't get Bleu de Chanel out of this. I get something different. There's even like a cannabis note in here that's just enough to add this slightly astringent, fresh green quality that adds a touch of character to it, but overall it's kind of a sporty, fresh smelling fragrance that's on the green side. It's clean, easy to like. If you want to be mass appealing, you want to be crowd pleasing, this is a good one to consider. Habit Rouge L'Instinct. And our final category is the anti-fragrance. Maybe this is the fragrance you want to wear when you don't really want to wear fragrance, or you don't want to come off cologne-y or come off as if you are spraying on something that smells like a fragrance. This just smells clean. It smells like you took a shower, you put on clean clothes, you came out into the world, and it's like there's something there. You don't smell exactly just like clean human. There's a little bit more to it, but it's not so overt. It's not so explicit. This kind of blends into the background of your overall vibe and really just supplements it. This is a beautiful scent, easily underrated from this house, from Creed, Original Vetiver. Some of you guys might be like,
Oh, it's Creed. I don't care.
and I'm like,
Okay.
but if you haven't tried Original Vetiver, this is one of the unsung heroes from the house. Now, is it a super strong, fresh fragrance that warrants the price you would pay? Well, that's going to be up to you to decide, but as you can tell by my sarcasm, some of you guys would say no, it's not. And if we're going off performance alone, then I guess no, it's not. But the scent, the experience, the functionality, the wearability, it's all here, and the quality more than anything, yes, I do think it is worth the price, but especially from discounters. I'm not buying a Creed full price. I've never done that in my life. I don't recommend it unless you're just out and about and you got it like that and you want the fragrance right then and there. Then yeah, swipe your card, have at it. But there's much better deals online, especially getting decants. I think that's the way to go to make sure you love it. But Creed Original Vetiver does not smell like a Vetiver fragrance to me. If you're worried about Vetiver, Vetiver is not really front and center in its typical way. It's not super grassy or woody, smoky, leathery, dry, sharp, anything like that. It's not that kind of Vetiver. It is clean. This is a clean, soapy, musky, round, even like slightly borderline creamy Vetiver fragrance. It's mostly like green soap, but it doesn't smell like Irish Spring or anything like that. It is just clean. It's so high quality, and I love wearing it in just about any occasion, whether I'm going to be around people or not. But I want something that's not going to be in my face the whole time I'm wearing it. I might even forget about it. I might forget I'm wearing it, but every time I do get that whiff, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I put this on, and then maybe I can put something else on later when I'm ready to actually wear something that has presence. Anyway, I want to know what you think of Original Vetiver. Let me know down in the comments. Do try the sample. I'll link down in the description. I want to know what you guys think of this whole series, this idea. If you want to see more episodes like this for 2025, I'll be happy to provide. I'll find other fragrances I can fit into these categories. Make sure you're subscribed. Please like the video if you like the video, and thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.